The meeting of the Board of Education will now come to order on July 27th at 5:39 p.m. Ms. Barbenheimer, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Present.
Mrs. Hickson?
Present.
Mr. Ocampo?
Present.
Ms. Patterson?
Here.
Ms. Grant?
Here.
Mr. Belterra? Absent. Ms. Barbenheimer? Present. We have quorum.
Excellent. Can I get a motion to retire? To executive session for the purposes of litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of a particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting, 5 ILCS 120/2C11. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act. 5 ILCS 120/2C1. Collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. 5 ILCS 120/2C2. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Great. Ms. Barbenheimer, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson? Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Belterra? Absent. Ms. Barbenheimer? Aye. Motion carried.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Can I get a motion to reconvene the regular meeting of the Proviso Township High School Board of Education?
So moved. Second.
Great. Ms. Barbahan, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander? Absent. Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Valtieres?
Aye.
Ms. Barbahan? Aye. We are in regular session.
Excellent. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Barbahan, please read the mission statement.
Through expectations of excellence and by providing equitable educational opportunities to empower each student, our graduates are prepared for college, careers, and to serve as contributing members of a dynamic global society.
Thank you. At this time, the Board of Education opens the floor for citizens' comments. The board will receive public comment from any individuals present this evening and have submitted a request to address the board per the established procedures. We believe that all participants in the meeting desire the best outcomes for our students, families, and communities. As a reminder, this meeting is being live streamed and will also be archived and available on the district website.
First, we have Mohammed Mansouri.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please come up to the podium and use the microphone.
Hello everyone,
Good evening.
good evening. I live in Maywood and I'm usually in the area talking to people, especially you. And I used to work with the Proviso East and I came here a few times. So last year, the community leader circulated a petition with over hundreds of signatures asking for a new basketball coach for Proviso West High School. And we agreed to extending the coach term for one more year after the board agreed. But we had another losing season. So we are asking why still we are putting politics above the people will. We have a well-qualified basketball coach who is have all the qualifications. He got a master's degree in education. He had a winning championship record in the court and off the court, representing himself with the professionalism and integrity. And it will be shame if we lose this great man of honor due to politics at all of the coaching position. Basketball coach position is still vacant. We are strongly recommending that Coach Brian to be placed at the basketball coach position at Proviso West High School. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Aaron Peppers.
Hello, how's everyone? To God be the glory. Thank you for the honor to speak to you guys today. I want to speak about wins and losses. I'm a former winning coach here at Proviso East 2005-2010. We had a historic playoff run, 3 winning records. We went to the 3rd round of the playoffs. That's winning coaching. I came in and came back after I retired from the police force because we were losing. And when I say losing, we were losing because we cheated. We had a black eye in our community over the pirate We were playing kids that were over the age limit, IHSA violations, things of that nature. So I came back because I said to myself, we need to start winning again. But you have to define winning a little different. Winning in the community as a leader is very important. I can recall being a police officer, and then I look up, it's a young man gets shot in the head at 5th and Lexington. And I was the first officer on the scene. And the young man said to me, Coach Pep, because I was coaching the Bucks at the time, am I gonna die? And I said, no, son, the Lord loves you. Jesus has you. To make a long story short, the young man did pass, but he gave a dying declaration, and we had a conviction on his killer. So you also can look at winning as, I was a SWAT team leader, we had just did a raid, and the next thing I knew, I saw some kids after we cleared the house, and I had on my full SWAT uniform, AR-15, and the kids walked by and said, hey, Coach Ben. That's when we winning. Winning is when we get our kids an opportunity to get out of neighborhoods that are not safe for them, and an opportunity to see the world. You know, like kids like Corey Cooper, go to University of Nebraska, Antoine Lewis, University of Purdue, Josh Jenkins, College of Holy Cross, Ray Sankey, Illinois State, Clifton Stephan, Fordham University. Some guy I know that we all know, young man named Sergio Brown, Notre Dame, NFL for 7 years. I think that the best story I have is about a young man that grew up at 7th and Washington, that graduated Proviso East. His name is Marcus Dunlap. Marcus Dunlap was a young man that went to Illinois Wesleyan, graduated with 2 degrees in 4 years on the double major. He had a 4.8 GPA out of 4 scale. He's currently working for BOE Capital in New York City. He's a multi-millionaire. And I have a football organization, and we're sponsored heavily by Amazon. But what Marcus does is, because he calls me his dad, because he lost his father when he was 7, and I coached him with the Bucks and then in high school. He matches every donation every year that Amazon gives to our football organization, not-for-profit. So that's what he does. And when every year he gives it to me, I say, you don't have to do this. He said, Dad, yes I do, because you're doing God's work in our community, and I'll never forget it. And he calls me Dad. So when you have young men like that, you're winning. Losing your father, as Marcus did, and Sergio, you can turn those losses into wins. You know, a man once told me, man, I don't know you. And I said, well, let me tell you about myself. I'm a little kid from 7th Avenue here in Maywood, product of District 89. We had a lady there named the late Annie K. Betts, Vera Brown, Mary Terrell, just to name a few. Then graduated from Proviso East. And as a graduate of Proviso East, we had people like Frank Montgomery, John Carl, Eric King, Dr. Cynthia Richardson Broughton, with their great leadership. You know, you have to think about things like that to win. I'm also not only a Proviso East graduate, I'm a 3-time graduate from the University of Louisville, political science, criminal justice, and a master's in public administration from the College of Business with honors. Currently a trustee here at the Village of Maywood. A husband of Sean Peppers, father of 4, and many other young men throughout the community and young ladies. Grandparents, late grandparents of Ozzie and Frank Peppers, and also Ruth Jean Marshall. And just, I have to say that it's an honor to have an opportunity to be empowering lives here in our community. But let's remember, let's continue to win together. Thank you. God bless.
That concludes Justin's comment.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we will have reports and communications from our superintendent of schools.
Good evening. Board President Grant, Vice President Ocampos, and Board Secretary, Ms. Barbara, and board members, community, faculty, staff, good evening. So, colleagues, not only did I hear you, but the board also heard you regarding your health benefits. And they made us go back to the table to find a resolution to the dilemma. And we're happy to share with you this evening that we did just what the board asked of us. So, Dr. Kaneem, will you come forward at this time and share with the community our recommendation to the board?
Good evening, board members. And as Dr. Henderson said, and he said it a little kinder than the way he presented it to me, he said, Jay, get this problem solved. Let's get together, let's roll up our sleeves, and let's come to solve the problem. We have been working with the teacher, support staff, maintenance on this problem for a few months. Because as you see on this slide, we were experiencing a very bad premium year, meaning our premiums did not cover our costs. So we started a brainstorm, what Dr. Henderson said, to relieve the burden that our employees were having, find a solution. And let me be specific on what the real problem was. Employee contributions in the year 2022-23 totaled $782,000. If we use Blue Cross Blue Shield's projection, those employee contributions would now be $2,136,000, an increase of 300%. Our total premiums were going up 30%, but because we had language in the contract that said anything over 10%, the employees, certified employees, maintenance tier 1, would pay every dollar after the 10%. So if you're looking at the teacher contributions and certified and maintenance level 1, they would move from $534,000 to $1,764,000. A tremendous strain on our employees. So I started running scenarios, and we took every employee and reran the scenarios. One was, I believe, Madam President, you talked about a straight percentage across the board on the premium. So we ran that scenario, and we found, yes, we could reduce the cost of the employee premiums by roughly $500,000. Asked Mr. Gleason, and he said that's a change in contract language. You can't do that midstream. Go back and look at something else. Next, I think, and I'm going to give Dr. Henderson credit for this, a novel idea, I call the Robin Hood idea, that those people that make the most would get the least relief, and those people that make the smallest amount in salary would get the greatest relief. And so we put together what we call a sliding scale that said if you make this much, you get this relief, and we put in, I was feeling very good about this, but Mr. Gleason said that's a change in language, and he's right. That would have necessitated a change in language. Well, that didn't stop me. I said, well, what about the 10%? And as long as we're going to be changing language, the reduction, as I just described, on the sliding scale. Obviously, if you can't do the 10% and you can't do the sliding scale, you can't do this one either. But the purpose of this is to lay foundation and work for future discussion. So we're sharing that with you, and you can see every employee and how all these solutions affect them. The one thing we came up with, and again, the board at a month ago's meeting said, who made Blue Cross Blue Shield team? Who, when you set these premiums, could they be higher? Could they be lower? And we said, yeah, they could have been. This year which had this huge increase, could be an anomaly. That maybe if we change behavior in our program, we can keep our costs down. And we saw an option that we call option B, that we would freeze all employees' premiums. So every employee would not pay a cent more than they paid this year. How can we do this? Well, we can do this by utilizing the insurance reserves that we built up since 2016 when we instituted our self-insured program. The idea of self-insured is that you keep your savings. When you have a traditional insurance policy, if you have a good year, well, that's great, but the insurance company saves the money. When we instituted self-insurance, we kept the money. And so we built up the reserve. And if you're ever going to use that reserve, this is the year to use it, to save your employees. Let me give you what the example would be. We set the premiums, and if you know me, I use round numbers, set the premiums at $9 million. If our costs come in at $9 million, you don't touch the reserve. If it comes in at $10 million, well, you got to spend $1 million of your reserves. If it comes in at $12 million, the board would have to guarantee the payments, and they do this through an interfund loan. If we see this coming down the pipe, if we see another year, it's not going to come in July, we're going to have this discussion. It's going to come in January and February, which will give us a 6-month window to have open discussions with you on what we can do. Now, to the employees, I always go to the last one, which is a certified employee who has family insurance. That person would pay from their paycheck $176. If you let the premiums increase, each paycheck that employee would pay $567 out of their paycheck. And I'm sure that employee would say, I'm working for free now. Total cost of $377, that we can propose a change by us changing our behavior. Dr. Henderson, just a short story. Board asked about my health today, and I thank them for that. But I want to give you an example. I'm in the hospital bed, well, even before I went in. I have a great doctor, and he knows who I am, so we talk money. And he said, you can bring your own medicine. Instead of having the hospital pharmacy give you the medicine. I have a wonderful wife. How she stayed with me for 50 years, I will never know. But she packed up the medicine, she gave me the medicine, and that simple act of me bringing my medicine rather than the pharmacy saved, what is it, Medicare? $700. Because I don't know if you've ever looked at bills from hospitals, you get an aspirin and it costs $100. But by my wife bringing the medicine, make sure I took it, was a minor savings. We need to change behaviors. We need to be goods consumers. And by we, the whole district needs to be goods consumers. Option B does this. It increases costs for bad behavior, not bad behavior, but not financially wise behavior, and it keeps the same if you work with us on the policy. There is going to be an increased out-of-pocket cost. How does the employee change that increase? They get involved in our Bravo Wellness Program. And by getting your flu shot, by getting a colonoscopy, a mammogram, all of these very great savings on, not only savings on money, but savings for your health, can level off that increase. In conclusion, I think this is a great idea. I think the employees who signed the agreement think it's a great idea. But I want to tell you what is even greater, and that's the process we use. We problem solve. We're not confrontational, but we're collaborative. And we all come together tonight to recommend this plan. I'll answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Kneen? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kaneem. You almost did it. I said 10 minutes and you almost made that, sir. Very good.
But you did give me the thumb to get moving, too.
Oh, you didn't have to tell me that. But that's like you, so it's all good. So we really don't have a real presentation this evening. I spoke with Ms. Grant last week around the work, and it was really a bunch of questions. And so we would like to address those questions this evening. I don't think I need the mic. I have a built-in mic. So I'm going to quickly run through those questions. So this evening we'll be looking at educational services update, looking at our master scheduling of refinement, our 9th grade scholar enrollment, scholar orientation, and preparing for teaching and learning. Those are the items that we're going to quickly hit under the area of educational services. Now, as Dr. Williams shared with you all last month, first of all, let me just say this. I don't see any of my folks here. Almost everyone is on vacation this week, guys. But listen, let me just say that team has worked above and beyond since October. Due to that complete fiasco last year, we got on it immediately. And as you can see, the counselors have gone above and beyond as early as January. Take a look here. February, our scheduler built session and data input. March, look at that. By March 7, 94% of our scholars had fully requested tentative master schedule. 94%. April, tentative master schedule finalized. And in August, we're going to roll over. All of our students, Ms. Grant, I heard you tell the paper, you had 2 focus. Registration was one, and the other one was transportation. And I wanted you to know that we're going to meet both of those. So our master scheduling refinement, our rising seniors transcript audit, this is critical. For years past, we've had students thinking that they're going to graduate and weren't able to graduate because we hadn't done our due diligence as administration and counselors. But this year, students will be graduating. The master scheduling team, they meet weekly to ensure that everything is in place so our students are on track for graduation. And for the first time in this district history in a long time, June 14th, this was shared with us by counselors from East and Tony Valente. All 3 schools your tentative master schedule for the 23-24 academic school year. This is our first time. And it is solely because of the team that we have galvanized to move this work.
All right, ninth grade enrollment. I'm looking for 4 students from PMSA. And then they are 100% enrolled. But let's take a look at East and West. We have work to do. So, what are we going to do? We're going to start our robocalls, and we're going to incentivize our parents to get in here and register their scholars. What are we going to do? All on-site registration will be held here, right here in this building, right here in this room, from 8:30 to 3:30, Monday through Friday. But we decided to take it further. For those parents who can't get here during the regular scheduled hours, from 4 to 6, starting next week, July 31st. We're going to do all that we can do to get all of our 9th grade scholars in here before the first day of school. So we wouldn't have that debacle that we had last year. Then we're also having scholars orientation. Schedule pickup, locker assignment, gym uniform pickup, scholars IDs, even book distribution. August 28th for our seniors at East from 12:30 to 3:30. 29th, 10th and 11th grade, 12:30 to 3:30. August 30th, 12:30 to 3:30 for our 9th graders. And the same for West, then PMSA. PMSA, only difference here, they have a makeup day for all students. All of this will be on the website and sent directly to parents and students alike. All right? Preparing for teaching and learning. We are excited about that because we have now systems in place. Board, let me thank you. We've ordered over $1.5 million in curriculum materials. New curriculum resources have been ordered, planning and delivery and accounting. All new curriculum resources have been rostered via Clever. Now Clever, you all purchased that sometime back. Whereby, when a student goes into Clever, they will be able to get all of the program, Schoology, Performance Matter, everything was right there under Clever. Recruiting educators, mentors, we'll be doing that. We're going to get started early. So come the first day of school, we already know our mentors. And they would jump in with our mentees and help us move this district forward and providing any assistance that they may need.
Is that a one-on-one new teacher?
It's a one-on-one.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. And then our district institute is September 1st. Professional learning. This is going on right now this summer for all teachers. Training in all of these areas. And it will be ongoing throughout the academic school year, providing our teachers with everything that they need to do a great job. Data guys. In very short order, we will be working with our teams of administrators throughout the district because we want to look at what's happening with our PSAT and SAT. We're going to dig deep to find out what's the problem so we can address that in a delivery of instruction, getting to the root cause.
thus ensuring continuous improvement. Leadership Retreat is coming up next week on the 3rd and 4th. And then I believe the School Leadership Institute is coming up the following week, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. And then for the remainder of the 2 or 3 weeks, we will be working, planning to ensure that we are ready to move forward. I'm just going to go ahead and run through this, Mr. Pavoni. Staffing. As you can see this evening, right now, once you vote tonight, and if you vote on these teachers, we have 3 teachers pending. That's tonight. The number 9 here will go down to 6. 5 here, go down to 11. 2 here, 1. So I want to say thanks to Mr. Pavoni and Mr. Bryce. They're doing a great job in ensuring that we are hiring teachers. So we're moving forward in that area as well, along with other areas, as you can see, and you have in your notes. Finance. Okay, so when you all get ready to ask questions, then I'll call Moody up here for the deep dive. But of course, we coordinate with the Treasurer's Office. How do we set payroll dates? Boy, that's a good question, Ms. Grant, since you asked that question. Let me tell you something. When I got here 3 years ago, I noticed that people would retire, leave for whatever reason, and wouldn't submit their paperwork until July 2nd, July 3rd, July 5th, because it had been a practice that you will get all of your vacation days. That's 20 days. They were front-loaded, that's what I call it. So they front-load those days, and if you resign after July 1st, you can get all of those days and walk away without working 1 day. I'm going to say that again. Without working, and if you're making $150,000, that's about $13,000. And if 10 people are doing that, do the math. So the first year got by me. I said, Mr. Gleason, we have to change this. We made that change. It is in the contract. Now, for those individuals who held their resignation until after July 1, is null and void. They will not be able to get that $13,000 or $15,000 because we right or wrong. There's no way people should get 20 vacation days and have not worked 1 day. And that's what was happening in this district. So you have 26 pay. You get 2 paychecks a month, and a couple of months, 3. Do the math, we just simply divide by 26. 2 weeks of pay. All in 2 weeks intervals. Now, if you recall, some of our employees came up and shared the hard time or the hardship because we had to go for 3 weeks without a paycheck. You all were so gracious, you changed that for them. So let's take a look at that. Let's look at June. On June 9th, they got a check
Everything was fine, but they were not gonna get another check until June 30th. But due to their cries, we moved it. But had we left it as we had it, they would have got their last check on the 30th. Those folks who, 12-month employees who retired, resigned, left, for whatever reason, they would have gotten their next check on the 14th. Thus, they would have worked 2 consecutive weeks, working in the arrears, as I've always and only knew it that way. You never walk into a place of employment and you work one day and you get a check for 2 weeks. What our peers, colleagues did not understand when they came up to complain, they'd been paid for that 2 weeks. We hadn't robbed them out of a check. We paid them. That's what happened there. How do we accrue time? Let's talk about that a little bit, which is what I just did. But this is really for your 12-month employees, special payroll. Remember I said I asked Mr. Gleason to change that contract? Now you just can't come in to this district and start off with 20 days. You have to accrue time. And you only get 2 days, or 1.8, whatever you want to call it, a month until you get your 20 days. Now, it's at the discretion of the supervisor to say, okay, you need 5 days? You're still going to be here? All right, we'll give you 5 days up front. We're going to work with you. But you don't come in and get 20 days, resign, and you're out. No more. That's over. From last year, moving forward. We would not give away the taxpayers' dollars like that. And that's simply an example. People call, say, you owe me. They quickly take their vacation time, thinking that they're still going to get a check. But if they were on the old system, we had an issue with that, Ms. Grant, that you and I talked about. If they were on the old system, overpaid. Or this would be it, underpaid. They've underpaid. They owe us. And I cannot begin to recount or share with you how many folks have gotten out of here owing the district. That shouldn't be happening. So now that this system is in place, it won't happen. You also wanted to know about the status of TRS. I understand that the state had a new system called Gemini. And there were some hiccups with this system. So at the state level, thus caused us to have some hiccups. And yes, I've seen, and I'm now aware of those fees that we incurred. But I also understand that the state will grant us a waiver for those fees. So we're working to that end right now. Okay? And that will be included in the budget. Then the last piece we have here is our consultant that we've had for the last 2 years, Ms. Nancy Gouverneur, to help Mr. Taylor work on phase 2 and sequence 2 of the facility master's plan. Now, as the fee here is $150, not to exceed $62,500. But from the last 2 years, she has not gone over $40,000. So we're well within that range. So we'll be asking you to approve that this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the superintendent's presentation. Do you all have any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
So you have the school orientation for East Weston PMSA, and it's going to contain scheduled pickup, locker, gym uniforms, IDs, and book distribution.
Uh-huh.
Do we have all the materials in place to provide an ID to every single student?
That's what I'm being told.
Okay. Can you
Yes,
verify
yes,
that?
that-
Because
that's
last
right.
year we had kids going to school for weeks without an ID because there wasn't enough of the plastic ordered.
Well, we have enough.
We have 10,000 IDs on hand, we
Yes.
just got two new printers per
Printers?
school.
Okay.
So if that printer goes down, it'll be ready.
There's a backup.
Yes.
And so every school can provide a student with an ID if they come to register?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Great question.
And the same with gym uniforms, every single student will have a gym uniform when they show up? Thank you.
I have several questions.
Sure.
Transportation.
Thank you so very much. I wanted to address that. So we had the opportunity to meet with transportation just this week. And I can say this on the camera, first student. They promised us,
I'm sorry, who's that?
first student, I just said that.
Okay.
First student. They promised us that they would have enough drivers, single route, not double, at each school. Given that, we shouldn't have any hiccups. Because last year, there were double routes for east and west alike. This year, they have promised us that we will have single routes. That's why I can tell you, transportation and registration, we're going to be on for that.
Do we have a contract for students?
We didn't change the contract. We have a 3-year deal with them.
Okay.
Up to 5. So now it's 4. But yeah, last year was the first year.
Is the promise in writing?
Of course it's not. But we worked very hard with them this week. And we just, clean slate, let's start over. As long as they have the drivers, that really shouldn't be a problem.
Can we get the documentation? For me, I need documentation, and I hear you, what you're saying, but for me personally, I need to see it in writing that these students will have the transportation that you're saying that they're going to have. Okay. So if we can get that in writing, we're good to go.
Okay. What else you got?
I have some questions about leadership because you have it up here. So at your leadership retreat, who's going to be the facilitator? I have like 5 questions.
Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Yeah, she answered that last week, a month as well. He's a superintendent with Talent Tree. He's a consultant, but yeah, he's a superintendent with Talent Tree.
And so, having said that, does the leadership retreat cover the following? Where are we now? Where are we going, meaning the district? What will get in the way of success? And how do you plan to implement that as the superintendent?
So I hope you heard me because I really answered those questions in my presentation when I talked about data guide.
Okay.
So you already know that we have our strategic plan. And our strategic plan is going to lead us. That's the roadmap. Along with diving deeply into the data that I talked about earlier. Okay?
last question
Mhm.
for the leadership retreat. As you know, as a school board, maybe this is just something that I'm used to, being a former school board member. Usually when there is a retreat, the board is invited, and well, we might not be welcome. I'm sure we're going to be invited.
Well, that was uncalled for.
Okay,
That was
well,
uncalled for.
number one,
was uncalled
please,
for.
please do not disrespect.
That was uncalled for, I said.
No, so we
That was uncalled
were
for.
not invited, and we are the board.
Right.
So normally.
We haven't sent out any.
Dr. Henderson, please let me finish.
Go ahead, finish.
I respect, because I did not disrespect you.
Go right ahead.
Normally, school boards are invited to leadership retreats.
Who said you weren't gonna be invited?
Sir, there is protocol. You pick up the phone, you send an email. That's the norm. And we did not receive a formal invitation to the retreat. And that's all I have to say about that. When you can,
Well, I'm glad you, you said that.
okay.
Yeah, you did, you said that. There's protocol. Pick up the phone. How many times have I tried to reach out to you?
That's
And you wouldn't-
personal.
No, it's not personal. This is all business. There's nothing personal about you and I.
Okay, well,
This is
first of
all
all,
business.
don't raise your voice. at
This
me.
is all business. Oh,
Do
I'm not raising
not
my, I'm not
raise your
raising my
voice.
voice. I'm telling you, this is all business. I called you, you don't answer. I've sent you emails. Sometimes you will. I've asked you to meet with me. You tell me 5 o'clock in the morning. No, ma'am.
That was a joke, and if you didn't get.
I did say that. Remember, I did say that.
Okay,
I said
was a
that.
joke.
I said that.
So, okay, moving right along.
Let's go.
And I don't recall you sending me emails that I never responded to, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
And this conversation is over.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions?
I don't have any questions, but I know this is my second term. And maybe some boards, not all boards, will necessarily invite the Board of Education to leadership meetings. Prior superintendents haven't. I think that if that's something that this board would like to have happen, it's just a matter of just saying, we're just saying, hey, I know it's on this day and show up. I don't know how much we could do as a board member at a leadership retreat other than show up and say hello.
Normally, what I would
do, Ms. Patterson, I would invite the board president to bring greetings to the staff. And then you may do that, or you may send someone else on your behalf to bring greetings. And that's about it.
Any other questions for the superintendent?
Yes, 2 questions regarding ninth grade enrollment.
Uh-huh.
The first one is, what is the number of laptops that we have on hand? For
1,500 laptops, brand new laptops that sitting, waiting on our scholars.
Okay, so that's for incoming ninth graders.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. And then I see about almost over 1,000 projected ninth graders for East and West combined. Do you know the number of troublesome routes for either of the two?
Mr. T, do you know any of those routes?
Yes, I do. In Westchester, there's 4. Kitchener and Hull is one. Bellevue and Windsor is another one.
Okay.
Sunnyside and Windsor is another one. And Nelson, and I believe it is, I don't recall the other cross street.
So are those routes being addressed? Because obviously we received a lot of complaints. What assurance do you have that they will be addressed this upcoming year?
So,
I can answer that, let me
So-
ask. Well, those are some of the things that we talked about Monday, Tuesday, I'm sorry.
good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So on Tuesday with First Student, we spoke with both regional managers and the general manager over at the Hill Park office, which was the major problem last year. So they promised us there are going to be 26 routes running at Proviso West next year. They have 8 redundant drivers, They also going to key up on all of the routes that was problematic last year, and they're gonna make sure that they have observation reports weekly to the team. The managers are gonna be out the first 6 weeks to make sure that the school buildings and the buses are being received well, to make sure the scholars get into the building fine and on time. And last but not least, Mr. Garrett sent over the chart today, excluding all 12th graders from last year's chart. So 9th graders are gonna be 10th graders, 10th graders are gonna be 11th graders, 11th graders are gonna be 12th graders. That information has been shared, and they're creating routes as we speak.
Okay. And are they creating routes around the ninth graders as well, the projected?
Because of the inefficient data we have,
Yeah.
Right.
we,
Not inefficient, because we don't have that.
because we don't have the data,
So you
We
you
can't
know the students, the number of students incoming, but you
Yes.
don't know
Their home
where it
addresses.
is.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Could you kind of guesstimate, like I'm getting 500 from Bellwood?
we can, but Bellwood is, what, 10 square miles? How do you plan it? That's the only problem. We are brainstorming with first student every week, and no doubt we're gonna do our best to make sure this problem is solved. It has been a huge burden on the district, and we, as employees, feel ashamed of it as well, and have to go through parent interventions every morning. So, for sure, we're gonna be holding first student to the fire to make sure that we get great service for our scholars. Absolutely.
LT, I have one question. I know last year, bus, they were saying, oh, the bus is not coming, or the bus didn't come, or the bus is not here. But there were times in the GPS could show where they had actually been at the location. The kids didn't come out, or came out later, 9 o'clock, and saying, hey, my bus never came at 7:30, and didn't call until 9 o'clock saying so. What are you guys doing about that? Because I think you guys are sending buses back, or vans to pick up kids that intentionally didn't get on the bus.
So we have a lot of text messages with parents and a lot of emails from last year. So me and Mr. Garrett, we're diving into those emails, we're diving into those phone conversations. We're actually reaching out to parents as we speak every week. Every day we're reaching at least 150, and we just put them on notice. We really want to be a partner this year because we cannot have any deficiencies in transportation because of issues with Proviso or the scholars. If we have scholars that are late, we would love to help them, but we just cannot make it a problem for the district. But absolutely, for sure, last year we did have some lagging indicators that used the system to their advantage.
I think this year with the right bus systems in place and the right amount of drivers to get our kids to school, I do think we need to have a different process for our latecomers. Because I do think even when kids were getting to school on time, some might have been taking advantage of the fact that there was a lot of confusion in the beginning of the year with transportation. And instead of going to class, as I was dropping off my student at West, I could see many, many kids walking to Dunkin' Donuts. And I love my coffee and donut in the morning too, but we do need kids in the building on time. So for our building principals, is there something that we could do rather than saying, okay, you're late, here's a pass, go to class, and interrupting class, interrupting that first or even second period when they arrive late? Is there something else, another procedure we can put in place to maybe hold on to those kids in a separate room, figure out why exactly they were late? Were they, did 20 kids just come in, it was a bus situation, or, we overslept and we get here when we get here? Rather than sending them to the class and interrupting the students who were on time. Because I know that's a huge interruption for teachers, when every couple of minutes a new kid's coming in and they're trying to teach.
Yeah, that usually happens during the first hour, but we're going to allow the principals to put mechanisms in place, to address those issues.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question regarding registration. You had said that we're going to do some robocalls and targeted emails. Or are we making sure that we're not doing like a district-wide robocall, but we're really just targeting the people who have not yet registered?
We're targeting those individuals who have not yet registered.
Okay, just we're not doing like a
Yeah.
one, right? So we're doing those 2 additional hours Monday through Thursday, which I think is great. Is there anything else that we can do? Is there a way we could do maybe a few hours on a Saturday in August?
You know,
No?
they've gone above and beyond to accept those 2 hours every day after hour. So we really,
Well, right.
we'll,
Well,
we'll gauge that as we get, midpoint,
what
see
about
what we need to do.
offering the online registration as an option? Would that get more people registered?
Let me take a look into that.
Okay, I
I'm
know
sure
we
it
talked about
probably
it on
would.
11, and
Okay.
Dr. Williams said that she was
Mhm.
pretty much ready to flip that switch. I think with the low enrollment numbers, and we do want to make sure that we have transportation planned out in advance, not the day before. We don't want that appearance of a last minute situation again. We want to have it done as soon as possible. If we can
We'll
flip
take-
that switch,
Yeah, we'll take a look at that.
that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have something for you on the 8th, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right, then that concludes our report, Madam President.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Swenson, I want to do that screen share thing again. The whole thing. I should just email these to you, huh?
Yeah,
Probably
because
be
I'm gonna
easier.
leave this on because, Mr. Delsey
Okay,
is on
so-
the teams.
Right.
So I don't want it disconnected there.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just do this.
Oh, yeah.
Oops.
While you set that up, Amanda, can I give a quick shout out to Mr. Seals and the Proviso East Marching Band Summer Camp?
Absolutely.
Today, the Proviso East Marching Band Summer Camp did a little performance on the grass at PMSA, and it was super entertaining because you have high school kids and then you have upcoming 8th graders, 7th graders that also participate, and they're just adorable. And they did an amazing job, and I just want to congratulate Mr. Seals and thank him for all his hard work that he does over the summer, because it's one of the best programs, and it's highly anticipated every year, so great job.
Thank you. The president's report, as evidenced by this picture of David and I. Yay. So I just have a few things that I wanted to share. And my focus is really on preparedness for school. I want to make sure that everyone has what they need, both our staff and our students and families, actually. So we have a lot of really good events that are coming up, community events. These are all in chronological order for the most part. So Saturday at Proviso West, we have Chris Welch's annual Back to School Health Fair. This is a 4-hour event. There's a lot of stuff offered. School and sports physicals are available, so if your child needs a physical, this is a great place to bring them. They have free school supply kits. They have all kinds of raffle prizes, band performances, and all kinds of community resources are there. So I really recommend that everyone go and check it out if you're available. Also that evening, there's a drive-by for peace in Maywood. It's from 1 to 6. This is sponsored by the Mothers of Murdered Sons and Slain Daughters, and we really want to show them our support. They're giving out hot dogs and snowballs for the kids. All kinds of community resources will be there, as well as free gun locks if you do happen to have a firearm in your home. We also have on Sunday 2 other back-to-school events where you can receive free school supplies. We have one that's, disclaimer, Westchester Food Pantry is mine, but with Tiffany L. Robinson Ministries, there's a back-to-school supply giveaway that's going to be at the Hillside campus of the Memorial Park District. That's from 1:30 to 3:30, and then from 1 to 4 at the Stevenson campus in Bellwood of the Memorial Park District. The Dream Academy Foundation, in partnership with the Best of Proviso Township, is also having their community block party. All of these things are going to involve food and games and backpacks and school supplies, and it's all free and it's all open to the community. So if you are in need, I strongly recommend that you Go to one of these events. They're a lot of fun. The community organizations that put these on really care about the kids in our community, and they want to make sure that they're really prepared as we move into our school year. This is something I wanted to put out for everyone. I know it's been a really tough time the past few years economically. Inflation's up, which really stinks, and we can save money wherever we can. So there's a property tax savings exemption workshop that's happening in Melrose Park. This is Wednesday, August 2nd. So if you have any questions, go there. This is by Fritz Kagi, Jesus, Chuy Garcia, and Norma Hernandez. So this is a really good workshop if you have any questions. We've also been invited to the Forest Park Theater. They are doing a free Shakespeare in the Park, which looks amazing. This is another great family event. It's going to be the weekend of August 4th and 6th, and then again the 11th and 13th at 5 o'clock at the Grove in Altenheim. This is a free event. So we do recommend that you bring your chairs, bring your picnic blankets, bring your some snacks, and watch some amazing community theater. And then also we have another back-to-school event on August 6th. This is going to be at Brookfield Zoo. Senate Majority Leader Kimberly Lightford is doing her event. The first 500 people get free entry to the zoo. It's also free food and free school supplies and backpacks. So that's going to be another good event where people can go, have a great day with your family, and get the things that you need for the school year. This is just really fun. Maywood has a farm stand. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of this. It's every Thursday. This one says July 27th. That's today, but it's every Thursday at the Maywood Park District from 4 to 6. They do feature a lot of farmers of color and women-owned businesses there, so we really want to get out and support them. So just putting that out there. And then here's another event. This is by Convoy of Hope. This is in Chicago at Marquette Park. They offer a lot of things, and this flyer really doesn't do it justice. They are offering groceries. They are offering brand new shoes for children. They're offering, I believe, mammograms and other healthcare appointments. This is a huge event, so if you want to make the trip to Marquette Park, they are going to have a lot of resources. You can find this event on Facebook, and it has all the different things that are going to be offered. But they do offer quite a bit, and it's going to be another great event to get some of those back-to-school things that you've got to do to get them done and get them done for free. I want to point this out. This is a really neat back-to-school financial education workshop. This is for high school students, and so I really want to make sure that parents and students know this is coming up. This is going to be at the Broadview branch of Chase Bank. You do have to RSVP because space is limited, but it's a financial education workshop for teenagers, and then they are going to give away backpacks and school supplies after the workshop. So maybe your child has their first job this summer, maybe they spent their first paycheck on a guitar that they just ordered and arrived at your house. Maybe that happened at a certain house in Westchester recently. But this would be a good financial workshop for kids to attend. I do want to point out that we have committee meetings next week. We have our policy committee meeting has been rescheduled for Monday, July 31st at 6 p.m. here at PMSA. Ms. Hickson is our policy committee chair. She will be leading this. And then our finance committee meeting is going to be Thursday, August 3rd at 7 p.m. also here at PMSA. And Mr. Ocampo is going to be leading that. Yes?
Just one revision. I mean, the time is 5:30, and I will revise that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't realize that.
My apologies.
No, fixing it literally right now. Yes. Doing it, okay. So there, it's fixed. The Finance Committee meeting, as I was saying, is at 5:30 next Thursday, August 3rd. We know that a lot of people have expressed interest in these committee meetings, and we do invite everyone. These are open to the public. Whether you're a parent here, whether you have a student here, whether you are a student or not, you are welcome to come. These are community meetings open to the public, and we really do want to see you there, so please come on out. And that's it. Did anyone else, board members, want to Any committee stuff you want to talk about?
Just, the parent and community engagement will have to be the next regularly scheduled, which is the Tuesday, August 15th. I don't have availability to do a makeup from the last week.
Okay, I will be sure to put that in my report for August 8th. Fantastic, thank you so much. Okay.
Yep, just hold on, you're good, yep.
Okay, and that concludes the president's report. Sam, you're still with us, right?
Still on there.
Sam?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. I got nervous that I kicked you off when I did my presentation. I'm glad you're there. Okay, perfect. All right, let's move to our action items. Can I please get a motion to approve the minutes from our July 11th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bergman, please call the roll.
Is there discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander? Absent. Mrs. Dixon?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson? Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Beltieres?
Aye.
Ms. Barbahan? Aye. Motion carried.
Fantastic. Can I please get a motion to approve the memorandum of agreements with employee unions to provide a one-time health insurance payment adjustment?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Discussion, Mr. Gleason, I just want to be absolutely sure that union representation has been made aware that this is a one-time. So next year it doesn't happen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
There's a signed memorandum of understanding with each of the employee unions.
Okay.
And so it's up to union leadership to make sure that their members know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks to everyone for their work on this. It's not, in an ideal world, again, I'm going to say we need universal health care in this country, but I am really happy that we found a solution that people could agree on. So thank you so much to everyone who had a hand in this. It's really important that people be able to afford health care, but not at the expense of food and electric bills and all the other things that they need to pay for in their lives. And something Dr. Kameen said that I really want to reiterate is that the ER copay went from $100 to $200. And the reason for that is we do not want people to use the emergency room as a substitute for regular doctor's visits. It's really important to find a primary care physician and develop a relationship with that person. Please, please, do not wait until you feel like it's an emergency and you have to go to the emergency room. Your health and your well-being is worth a visit a few times a year to just a regular doctor to make sure things are going okay. And I also encourage everyone to take advantage of this Bravo Wellness Program. You can get rewards for doing certain things like getting a flu shot, getting a mammogram, having a regular health screening. That money goes into a debit card that you can use to offset other expenses. You can make up to $1,255, which is considerable. So please, please take advantage of this Bravo Wellness Program. It's really important, and we want you to know that these incentives are available to you. Okay? Any other discussion? All right, please call the vote, Ms. Bourbon.
Mr. Alexander? Absent. Mrs. Dixon?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Beltieres?
Aye.
Ms. Barbahan? Aye. Motion carried.
Good job, everyone. That's okay. Whew. Okay. Can I please get a motion to approve the Facilities Master Plan Phase 2 Sequence 2 Implementation Consultant?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Sam, did you have anything for this one?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander, absent. Mrs. Hickson.
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Aye.
Ms. Grant.
Aye.
Mr. Beltran.
Aye.
Ms. Barbahan. Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. Can I please get a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with the Proviso Teachers Union? Oh.
This is settlement for the lawsuit first.
That's
Number 15.
approval.
I'm just reading what's on here.
I think you skip a 15.
What did you say?
15 settlement.
Oh,
15.
oh, sorry, I didn't look at the revised one. I'm sorry, my apologies. Can I please get an approval of settlement agreements for case number 23 CB 1363?
So
Give me 1 second.
Second.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Any discussion?
Discussion, is this the 4 people case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Discussion. I want to be extremely clear, this happened under my tenure, so I am feeling need to respond. In this particular situation, behaviors occurred that should not have, that was unacceptable. We put kids out of classrooms for some of the behaviors that was exhibited. As far as some of the other things that this case entailed, those behaviors occurred. 5 board members voted for it, and here we are today. I totally disagree with the kinds of money that this district's insurance company will be paying to these individuals. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander, absent. Ms. Hickson.
aye.
Mr. Ocampo.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson.
Nay.
Ms. Grant.
Aye.
Mr. Beltran.
Nay.
Ms. Barbahan. Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, we do not have the 16, thank you.
You're not doing 16?
No. Sorry, that's a 2. Okay, so now we are looking at the personnel report. I need a moment. For the personnel report, I would like to pull a few items.
Okay.
I would like to pull 1A1. I would like to pull 2A3. I would like to pull 5A1 and B1, so all of section 5.
So just to repeat, we're pulling.
Wait a minute, which one was that, Amanda?
Are you looking at the new one?
Yes.
Yeah, the one that's not hole punch,
Wait. The one that's not the one?
not 3 hole punch, yeah.
I think you wanted to pull 6.
You can't pull the approved leads. You want 6?
Oh, it is 6, I'm sorry, it's not 5, it's 6, sorry. Okay, so A1A, or 1A1.
Okay.
2A3,
2A3, yeah.
and then it is 6,
A1.
A1 and B1.
6 what?
A1 and B1, so everything under section 6, I'm sorry, not section 5, section 6. That's, sorry. Okay.
I'm a barbarian.
So, does anyone else have anything they would like to pull? Okay, so then, can I please get a motion to approve the personnel report minus items 1A1, 2A3, and 6A1 and B1? So moved. Second. Thank you. Any discussion? I have a question. In the other summer employment at the very end, there are 5 people listed as sports camp aides, summer sports camp aides. Can you tell me what they do? Are these like trainers, or what does this entail?
These individuals are just assistants in the sports camps, or supporting the students and the coaches.
Okay, but they're not trainers? No. Thank you. Okay, just making sure. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander, absent. Mrs. Dixon?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson? Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Belterras?
Aye.
Ms. Barberman? Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. For 1A1, I would like to table that. I would like to make a motion to table.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, why are we, isn't this guy the principal at PMSA already?
I thought contracts rolled over.
I'm sorry?
Do contracts, I thought they rolled over for administration?
Actually, while that is true, he is currently the principal, but we never brought it to the board. We reassigned him as principal on special assignment.
Okay.
And so for that reason, we had to bring it forth.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So, no, I'm not done. So are we, he's principal on special assignments, so,
And I was recommending him to be the principal.
okay, and you're saying table it until the next board meeting, Leander? What do you,
Yes.
okay. So does the work stop if he's doing anything for PMSA, Dr. Henderson, if it's tabled?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, any other discussion? We vote to table? Right, yeah. Call the roll, please.
I do the first and second. Sorry.
Oh,
Oh, that was Sandra. Yeah.
and then David.
Thank you. Mr. Alexander, absent. Mrs. Hickson?
Aye.
Mr. Ocampo?
Aye.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Ms. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Belterras?
Aye.
Ms. Barberman? Aye. Motion carried to table 17-1A1.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve 2A3?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll, Ms. Barberman.
Mr. Alexander, absent. Ms. Grant?
Nay.
Ms. Hickson?
Nay.
Mr. Ocampo?
Nay.
Ms. Patterson?
Aye.
Mr. Belterras?
May.
Ms. Barberman? Nay. Motion carries.
Thank you. Can I please get a...
Motion failed.
Sorry, motion failed. My bad.
Thank you. Can I please get a motion for, to approve 6A1 and B1? These are the stipend positions.
Which one is that, Amanda? I can't hear.
6A1 and B1, the stipend positions.
Oh, it's the football?
Yeah, you got it? Okay. Can I get a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Discussion. We are, at this point, I believe, less than 30 full days from our first football game. less than 30 full days from our first football game. We have camps going on. We have camps that started practically, the next week after school ended. We have camps that are still going on. I think changing course right now would be really detrimental for our student athletes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please.
Hold on a minute, so will these coaches that are currently in place, still remain the coach?
We'll have to get them on the next report, I believe, to
So will
officially
they
hire them.
continue working until then, or what's?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Bergman, please call the roll.
Mr. Alexander, absent. Ms. Graham?
Nay.
Ms. Hickson?
Nay.
Mr. Ocampo?
Nay.
Ms. Patterson?
Nay.
Mr. Belterras?
Nay.
Ms. Barbahan? Nay. Motion failed.
Thank you. Ms. Bergman, will you please read the FOIA report into record? Would you have those?
To have
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah, so Jim. Oh, no, that's great.
It says no FOIAs received for the month of July 2023. And I do want to do an update that there are FOIAs that are in the process of being responded to.
That's
We
correct.
have one from August of 2022, we have 16 from May, and we have one from June.
That's about correct.
So those are in the process.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I got a copy of that today.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Old business, any old business? Hearing none, any new business?
Sorry about that, I had no business.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam, go ahead.
No, it's okay, I didn't click it on time. Yeah, so, I just need to know what's going on with the, ELL program. I know we're starting school and I haven't heard anything about it, so, I would like to, maybe for the next board meeting, give us an update and, if we're in compliance or not, because I know that the, Ernesto, I think he talked, one of the meetings late in the this year, and he's no longer here, so I was wondering what's going on with this. It's very important that we serve that,
Yeah, that's
that group of people, students.
Absolutely, Mr. Belterras. Everything is still moving in the right direction regarding ELL. So we're forging ahead. Even though he has resigned, Dr. Williams has picked that up and moving with it. And unfortunately, 2 months ago, we said no to the state ISB's EL person, who really would have been an asset to us. But nonetheless, well, the position has been advertised, and we look to hire someone in very short order. Hopefully, bring that to you on the 8th of August, Mr. Belterras.
Thank you.
Any other old business? New business?
Yeah, I have a comment regarding the budget. I had sent Dr. Henderson, Mr. Moody comments, observations regarding the budget, and I'd like, well, it will be a topic of discussion come August 3rd, but I would like a response to those questions. Like, one of the questions was the budget that's allocated to the athletics department looks like it's $60,000. Is that the entire athletics department, or is it?
I'm sorry, Doc, you all have been sending so much my way. I can't recall. Do you recall this?
Yes, it's, I sent it on Thursday, the 13th.
Do you recall, Mr. Moody?
I do. We're working on answers, but that is not their entire budget.
Do you know their budget?
Not offhand. We're working on answers for that. Well, I'm sure we'll have it for the finance committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I did have that as well, because I had another list of questions for clarifications on the athletic department's budget and processes. Who determines the budget? How is it determined? What is the process for hiring coaches? How do we involve students? And then I would really like to hear from our athletic directors about combining the East and West football program. I think that's an idea that we do need to take seriously, considering we have such low participation in that sport. So for August 8th, let's make sure that we have our athletic directors here and ready to present.
Sounds good.
That would be great.
Amanda, you joined the Star Flag. I'm joking.
You know,
They would go crazy with it too.
the first I heard of this was actually from a student before the school year ended. I received an email from a student at West who was really quite concerned because there are barely enough kids to make a team. If anyone gets injured, if anyone's out, it really affects how people can play. And he wants to be able to not just play, but compete. And we would definitely not be the first high school in this area to combine the programs. You know, we have some sports that are really popular, and that's fantastic. If East or West can field their own team, that's great. But for those who can't, you know, especially in such a big sport as football, we need to make sure that we're doing the best we can for students. So I realize for those who are like Super Pirates or Super Panthers and they want to keep it separate, I get that. I really get that. And I understand that there's such a deep history and pride in our schools, but we have to think of what's best for our kids. We really, really do. And at some point, I think that, you know, it's not just a safety issue, but it can become some kind of scholarship issue. You know, for some of our kids, as Coach Peppers mentioned, you know, this sport is a springboard into really amazing things. And if we can't field a competitive team, we're really shortchanging our kids. And I think this is a topic that is just really worth exploring. So I'd really like to see that at our next meeting.
And I also think the coaches should also recruit, like go around the cafeteria, since you have all these, many of the students, not all, that tend to like to become physical with each other. Recruit some of those kids to come out on the, you like hitting and pushing and maybe come out on the
move it in a positive direction and join a team and a sport.
Yeah.
And hit each other with proper padding and helmets. You know? But we do need to think about that. So any other new business? All right, hearing none, I am going to call for the adjournment. Can I please make a motion? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the roll, please, Ms. Berman.
All right, Mr. Alexander. Mrs. Hickson. Aye. Mr. Ocampo.
Aye.
Ms. Patterson. Aye. Ms. Grant.
Aye.
Mr. Valtierra.
Here, sign off.
Yeah. Ms. Barton. Aye. Carried, we are